Hey, what's going on, everybody? Steve here, Rake and Profit over at rakeandprofit.com, coming back to you with another video. And in today's video, I wanted to discuss how long should your items be sitting in your Amazon inventory before they sell. You know, what's my thought process on this? When I buy an item, like, what duration of time am I looking to hold on to it? I mean, obviously we all want to sell our items within a day or two, but realistically, you know, what's my turnover rate? How long do items sit? You know, based on my business model, when do things need to turn in order for my cash flow to not get absolutely destroyed, for me to keep growing and scaling my business? So that's what I'm gonna be talking about in this video. And I'm actually at Mohegan Sun right now. I may or may not have had a couple of drinks in me, so let's see if I can formulate some sentences this afternoon. But let's talk a little bit about this, because this is a topic I've been spending a lot of time thinking about as I've been growing my business. So my sales are at about $25,000 for the last 30 days in my Amazon business. And one of the things that I'm struggling with a bit, something that I'm really spending a lot of time on because I could see myself getting into trouble, is managing my cash flow. Because I've gotten to the point now where I can buy board games, puzzles, video games, DVDs, electronics, books, all different types of items, literally from the comfort of my home. Okay, so I have a team of virtual assistants. We source everything online, eBay, Facebook, Mercari, and we get things just literally shipped to my house. It's really, really easy to spend money, but I've noticed that I've made a couple of mistakes over the last 6 months, buying inventory that doesn't necessarily turn over quick enough. And this is really crucial. If you're going to thrift stores and garage sales and only spending a couple $100, it's probably not as important as, you know, in the situation where you're spending $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 a month on inventory, depending on your situation. Like right now, I'm spending about $10,000 a month on inventory. Actually, this month, we're probably going to spend $12,000. So I'm not really taking much money home right now, because all my profit, my $7,000, $8,000 in profit, I'm just sinking it back into buying more inventory, because I'm trying to build up this snowball on Amazon, like a bigger and bigger inventory. My inventory right now is about 1,500. It should probably be close to 2,000 once everything gets checked in. I've sent a lot of stuff in. So a lot of my profit is baked in to my inventory. So eventually I will get to a point where I can take my foot off the pedal and start to enjoy more profits. And as I grow my business, I'll be able to take more out of it on a month-to-month basis. But let's kind of dive a little deeper into like turnover rates. How long on average do I need my products to turn over? Again, we want things to sell within a day or two, I get it. But on average for my business model with online arbitrage, what am I looking at? So I'll do some generalizations over the top, and then I'm gonna dive into some specific like amount of days and like my game plan with repricing and whatnot. And also I'll share some like little software solutions that I'm using, so on and so forth. So let's see if we could make this video happen and give you some good value. So I was just looking at my inventory the other day, and I have, like I said, close to 1,500 items checked in. And I was looking at my inventory age, and about 1,000 of my items have only been in my inventory for 0 to 60 days, which is great, which means most of my inventory is turning over. About, I think, 250 items were in there between 60 and 90 days. I believe that was the case. And then the other 200 or 300 items were over 90 days, like from 90 days to 300. I think only 100 items were over 6 months old. So that's a really, really good sign. It's really important that your inventory turns over quick enough, because when you invest money into a product, it's just sitting there, right? Like you put 20 bucks into maybe a board game that you purchased or whatever, and it's just sitting in your inventory. It's not making any money. Matter of fact, right now it's just getting eaten by inflation. So it's important that those items turn over so you can get obviously your money back that you invested in a product, and also take your profit out and either pay bills or put it back into your business. So I was looking at my inventory, and I realized that a lot of my inventory that was over 6 months old, especially like because I do a lot of DVDs and whatnot and books, a lot of them had really low e-scores or price drops in keep up. For example, like with DVDs, I noticed that a lot of my DVDs that were sitting for a while were only selling 3 to 5 times a month. And I believe if there's a price drop, I use Seller Amp, which is a great tool that I just learned about from my good friend Miles. It's a little Chrome extension, and it'll show up on your Amazon page. It'll show you, it pretty much pulls the Keepa information and shares like how many price drops there were. So every time you see a price drop on Keepa, that's a sale. But I'm not sure if that sale is like, that just might combine new and used. I sell mostly new items. So to make a long story short, I noticed if there was like only 3, 4, or 5 price drops a month, a lot of those items that I had purchased 6 months ago were still sitting because either new competitors were coming in or maybe people were just buying the used offers. So now with DVDs, I'm really trying to buy DVDs through OA, obviously because I'm spending up and my margins are only like 30 to 50%, that have at least 8 to 10 price drops, okay? So that's the first thing that I wanna talk about. Make sure if you're sourcing online and you're spending up, you still want to do this if you're going to thrift stores and garage sales, only spending $1 or $2, but you want to pay attention to, if you're using Scout IQ, the E-score, which is a metric that lets you know how many days there's been at least one sale over a 6-month period. If you're not using Scout IQ, you can just use the Google Chrome extension or just look online to see how many price drops there are on the Keepa graph. Keepa will share with you sales rank, price history, number of sellers. It's just pretty much history of that specific ASIN. So it's really important to pay attention to this. And you know, I'm gonna get into the nitty gritty of like the days and kind of like my game plan with repricing. But you've got to pay attention to this, guys. Don't be spending a ton of money sourcing off eBay or Mercari or going to pawn shops or whatever. If you're spending more than a couple bucks per item, make sure you understand the Keepa charts. Make sure you understand the E-score. Make sure you understand the history of that item in terms of how many sellers have been on it. With Seller Amp, it'll actually show you all the offers and also share with you each individual seller and how much inventory they have. Because you might be saying, all right, I'm gonna price second or third in line, but if the guy who's first in line has 67 units and you know it's an 800,000 rank book, you're gonna just be sitting there forever. Now, if it's a 3,000 rank book, it'll fly through and you could be okay. But still, I mean, again, you got to think about how long you want your cash in that product sitting, getting eaten by inflation, rather than having your money in a product that turns, you know, consistently. And you could use that money to find products that you could replenish over the long haul. Okay. So in my business with my model, I'm really trying to turn my items within 60 to 90 days. Preferably, like my game plan now is to buy my books, my board games, my DVDs. Those are the items I like to focus on. That's my niche. I want to flip them before 60 days. So from 0 to 60 days, I'm pricing it with, you know, my main method in mind, right? I'm okay with going second, third, fourth in line, obviously weighing out the risk and reward of how many sellers there are. What's the E-score? Is Amazon on the listing? How fast is it turning? What's my likelihood of getting my price? So I'm pricing very, how do I say it? Not laid back, but I'm going for the gold from 0 to 60 days, right? Especially 0 to 30 days. I'm trying to get the price that I've analyzed that item at, and I'm really trying to get it. Once I get past, 60 days, so I would say between like 60 and 90 days, I'm getting a little bit more aggressive. So say, for example, I have a DVD that I purchased for 20, and my main goal was to sell it for 50 and maybe make, you know, 50 or 60% profit margin. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna analyze it. And this is what I've been training my team to do using Seller Amp, is taking a look at that specific listing and taking a look, okay, am I second or third or fourth in line? Say I'm third in line and I noticed that the rank is maybe at 90,000, but the E-score is only 12. That's not turning super fast. It's only at 12 sales or days with a sale over a last 6-month period. And maybe the guy who's first or second has a bunch of inventory. Maybe I'm gonna say to myself, you know what? Forget the 50% ROI. Maybe it's been up for sale for 75, 80 days. I might say to myself, you know what? Forget the 50% return on investment. Maybe I'm gonna drop the price and match the lowest price, and I'm gonna take a 25 or a 30% margin, because I really want, again, I want my items to turn within 0 to 60 days, because I've found, just based on, you know, doing this online arbitrage method that I've, you know, talked about and shared over pretty much the last year, for my cash flow to be healthy, and for me to keep investing into my business and get my money to work at the highest level possible, I want it to sell within 0 to 60 days. So really between 60 and 90 days, I still want to make a healthy margin. I would prefer to make, you know, a 25 to a 30% margin. But if I have to take a 15 or a 20% margin and just get rid of it, I'm happy to do that. So that's 30 to 60 days. So once I get to, you know, I would even say, I think that was actually like 30 to 60 days upwards to 90. Once I get to close to 90 days, and maybe it's like 90 to 100 days, 110 days, it's been up for 3 or 4 months, I've been training my team to really price a bit more aggressive. Maybe I only make 5% margin. Maybe I only make 10% margin. Maybe I only break even. It's really a case-by-case basis based on the SKU, the actual item, taking a look at the landscape of that specific listing. How many sellers are there? Is Amazon on the listing? Are there 12 new offers, used offers? What's the relationship between the merchant and FBA? Because if the merchant price is so low and FBA's up here with a 60% prime bump, maybe I've noticed the trend that FBA is slowly starting to chase down to that merchant price. I'm going to analyze all of these, but really, once I get between 90 to 120 days, I'm really going to push to get that thing kicked out of my inventory now. I wasn't doing the greatest job with this previously. I didn't do a poor job after looking at my inventory age, but I really want to get it kicked out. Once I start getting closer to like 150 to 180 days in my inventory, and again, there are, the exception doesn't make the rule. The exception to this is maybe I have a long tail item that I paid $5 for and it's selling for 90 and it had a 4 E-score. That's a different scenario. I'm talking more or less online arbitrage. I'm cherry picking online, looking for my 30 to 60% margin, really 40 to 50% margins where I really aim right now with a lot of my items. But once I start getting close to that 6-month period, that 5-6 month period, I'm getting to the point now where I'm training my team, like just get rid of it. Even if we lose 5 or 10%, I want to get to the point where, think of it this way. Maybe I experiment with like 2,000 or 3,000 different DVDs and books and different items. And I realize that maybe 500 of them are really good. Every time I get on it, it flips within a month, it flips within 2 months, maybe 2.5 months, a week or 2 weeks. I want to build a list of 200, 300, 400, 500 replenishable items that I can consistently source and consistently flip. And my team and I, we've gotten so good at sourcing a lot of media items online. It's not easy. It's taken a long time and a lot of systems to put in place. I want to get to the point where we have a solid, 300 to 500 items that flip within 60 days. I think that would be really great for cash flow. So once I get to that 180-day mark, I'm going to start just pushing my stuff out. And last night, my team and I, we changed the price on a lot of items that were over 6 months just to get rid of them. Some of them were losing $3, $4, $5, $7, $8. I mean, thank God I purchased a lot of these items at good prices, even though some of them fell off. So that's really my mindset. I really want to turn things within 60 days. Within 60 to 90 days, I'm going to reduce that profit maybe down from 50 to 60, down to 20 to 30 to 40%. Once I start pushing close to the 90 days, I'm okay with taking a 10, 15, 20% margin. Then once I really get to like over 90 days to 120, I'm okay with like getting close to breaking even or making a little profit. And after that, I might just start taking a loss. Here's an interesting analogy, and it doesn't play out quite perfectly, but if you want to be in the Hall of Fame as a baseball player, if you hit a 300 average, which means you get a base hit 3 out of 10 times, you're in the Hall of Fame, you're considered one of the best baseball players. With reselling, you can't, hit that low, but even if you get a base hit maybe 6 or 7 out of 10 times and you lose 3 out of 10 times, as long as you mitigate that loss or you minimize that loss out of those 3 times and you hit really big those 6 or 7 times and you make a 50, 60% margin, even if you lose 10, 15, 20% on maybe 3 out of 10 items, and I don't even think it has to be that low, you could still win really, really big in this game. So that's the point I'm getting to. And I'm getting to the point where we're starting to analyze our losses more and creating different plans and systems to avoid messing around with these items or these SKUs or these specific DVDs or books that just tend to fall out. The bottom falls out, or we notice a trend that every single time we get into a specific book that's been maybe 3 or 4 years old and then a new release comes out, the price drops. So I just want to share kind of my thoughts on this. Make sure that you get yourself Scout IQ if you're doing books. If you're doing any type of OA, I recommend Seller Amp. Make sure you get Keep Up. Really, really important. I'm trying to think of any other softwares that I'm using. Those are probably the most important. So right now, I'm actually manually repricing, and I got a call with my buddy Matthew, who runs a software called New Price. I was using Reprice It, was having a lot of issues. So I'm gonna have a call with him shortly and see if that could be a good solution for me, because my team's manually repricing for me as well right now, and I think they could be probably spending their time doing better things. So I'll keep you posted with that, but that's my mindset on pricing, repricing, in terms of what I'm looking to have items sell for in terms of what duration. And hopefully this helped. So let me know your thoughts down below. Any tips? I'm open to as much feedback as possible. But with that being said, much love, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.